been hidden away in vast libraries like the libraries of Ashurbanipal. The Vatican Library is the largest library in history. Ancient books from all the civilizations on earth underground in their catacombs in their main Vatican Library, and they have it hidden away for the Jesuits. They know all these ancient technologies. They know all these things. A lot of the things that were literally plundered by the Nazis were then salted away in the Vatican Library. And it was Nikola Tesla's father who had access to this library that knew the sacred geometries that allowed him to develop the hydroelectric generator and many of these other technologies. Is there a power in the dialectic of chaos and presentation of the false solutions that move the body of mankind toward a predetermined destination of ignorance, impoverishment, and subjugation? So they're doing it. They're actually the masters of chaos, the dialectics of balkanization, to dumb us down with sulfur fluoride, with scalar technologies, with excitotoxins, with mind tenderizers. Are we approaching the nexus? And I write this nexus because I was told in the Spirit this is the term for it, which is a place not only in the galactic plane where we have returned to, but it's also a plane where we're giving the same test that was given to an ancient culture almost 12,000 years ago that had a war. They've proven this. This is a chemical fact. There's nuclei in Ashurbanipal, India, and in the areas of Saudi Arabia and Yemen where there was a nuclear war. And there's an area in India that's over 12,600 square miles where they've proven the only thing they could have done it was not a meteor or a comet, it was a nuclear weapon. We know that these cultures were very, very advanced, and they were asked the same questions, and they failed the test. And their civilizations of Lemuria and Atlantis died. And we're at the same point. We have the Asian cultures of Lemuria now lining up on one side of the battle plane by these evil lords of Atlantis, on either side of the Atlantic. The British and the Americans and Canadians and the Australians and all these Western nations all getting ready for the battles of Har-Mageddon, which means the place where all the troops are brought together. Why? And why are we reaching this? Well, because, number one, we're receiving the precession of the equinoxes. We're actually moving to a point in civilization. And if we look at this all-seeing eye, we can see what role does catastrophism have in understanding world geopolitics and climate shift. Well, you've heard talks by people like Tessarian and others, Jordan Maxwell and other experts. All these things have been embedded deep in our cultures and they're in our history, but it goes far beyond that. Not only is catastrophism the basis of a religion, they actually move things like the Book of Revelation and the ancient cultures toward Pahanuk, which is the ancient Sumerian ceremony that they would perform, or the ceremony of the phoenix and the high priests in ancient Egypt, because they were preparing and ushering it forward because they knew they wanted the death of the phoenix and the rising of the ashes, because their power was created by the force of dialectics. So they are the ones building the underground bases. They are the ones sacrificing to their astral gods, which they have, the human race on the coasts, or to depleted uranium, or to deadly vaccines that will fry our brains, or to nanotech foods. They are about to sacrifice billions to their astral gods, which do exist in these higher dimensional planes. If you don't believe it, I'm sorry, you don't know that reality. And the dark hand of evil has ruled mankind systematically for years. And they've always pulled out the best and brightest. I was approached 3 times by the Pindar. 3 times. The Pindar, his name means penis of the dragon. He is the leader who rules over the Council of the 13 Druids directly under Luciferic control. He is the highest level on earth. And when you understand these things, like many of us, we could have turned toward the dark side. Thank God I didn't, not only for your sake, but for my sake. And one lady asked me one time, how do I know I'm saved? They have this, especially Christians, they have this idea of, how do I know I was saved? I said, are you in fear and trembling that you're doing the will of the Most High God? And she said, well, not really. I said, well, then you're not. In other words, if you're not concerned about your fellow man, if you're not concerned about your world, and you think you're going to get raptured away from here, I want to vomit. If you think it's okay to kill other people, whether they're brown-skinned, yellow-skinned, or a different religion, I want to vomit. If you think your religion justifies the genetic modification of food and the destruction of the young minds with depleted uranium or ethyl mercury salicylate, or your medical profession or your legal profession thinks it's okay to do administrative renditions on whistleblowers, I want to vomit. And you will be bound together, and I say this as a prophetic warning, you will be bound together into your prisons deep in the rocks of the earth, as it says in Revelation 6, and they shall hide themselves from the face of the Lamb and from the Holy One. And when the earth shakes and grinds like a hut at a Richter's 15 to 20, and your hyperspace technology and your advanced tunnels with Mach 2 super trains and your underground cities are so secure while we're frying and we're hitting with tsunamis and global earth changes, they'll all be entombed in their rock graves deep in the earth, in the bowels of hell. That's their future. So don't think you can hide yourself. The only thing that'll save you won't be your guns, it won't be your bad attitude, it won't be your bullets or your physical prowess, it'll be your spirit. And if your spirit tells you to go to the left and you want to go to the right, you better listen to your spirit. And you better do a lot of praying, people, because if you don't become centered, and that means not me telling you what to do, but you finding out what your God wants you to do. It says, to those who are going to die by the sword, they will die. And to those who are to be imprisoned, to those who are going to be martyred, and there's going to be a lot of martyrs, they're going to be trying to tell the others, this is what's coming. Because we are not years, we are months away from catastrophe. Look at this. Climate shift, mass species extinctions, geopolitical collisions of empires of total domination, invasions of consciousness. This is what we're facing. When we're talking about this tonight, we're talking about them literally invading the cortex of the human mind. The vertical rise of technologies they call the singularity. The post-human, transhuman species, they literally want to replace us. People think, well, I'm so good. I don't care if you're a billionaire. Do you have an IQ of 20 billion? Do you have a mind that is now meshed with a supercomputer array that can know everything about everything that goes on the planet? Do you have a lifespan of 20,000 years? Can you travel across the galaxy and advance technology with other civilizations? Well, I don't think so. So therefore, if you don't recognize what you are as a spirit being first, our civilization will soon end because we will not join the galactic, if you want to call it, civilizations. We are in an infant culture about to learn to walk, and they're looking and say, look, he's going to walk. No, oh, he's going to fall down the well. Are we going to walk or are we going to fall down the well? And it's all dependent on these questions. What evidence supports that we are not alone? Every religious book has talked about the seers or the watchers. I call them long-standing, intelligent, foundational entities. They call them the Ben Elohim in the Bible. Suppressed NASA, SETI, Vatican telescope evidence, all kinds of evidence that we have not only at higher dimensional beings that are astral, we call them demonic, whatever you want to call them, but there are beings in all kinds of civilizations across our galaxy and our cosmos and universe, not only from somewhere, but from some when. And that may be from the past, present, or future. We should not limit ourselves and our minds to understanding the nature of our universe, because those who do not know, as we cross the nexus, not asking these questions is a formula for death. So it's not an optional thing. What evidence supports that we are not alone in the universe? Well, this is like the original list of the Majestic 12. And I have people, I won't go too far down the rabbit trail tonight, but I want people to understand that I have people that want to talk, but they say they don't want to destroy everybody's religion by telling them really what's going on when they go to deep underground military bases. They don't want to really destroy and terrify people to let them know that they've actually been trading human flesh, and why hundreds of thousands and millions of people disappear every year from Eastern European and America and elsewhere in the world, and South America, disappear into underground facilities, off-world bases, and other places for experimentations, genetic engineering, and as human veal. They need to know that a lot of this technology and a lot of the evil, it sounds occult because it was. These entities, if you look at the, if you want to call it renditions of the, where people disappeared, so-called taken away by ETs, in converse to Mr. Greer, Dr. Greer, they're not all nice. There's nice ones,